this hour. After being named and shamed repeatedly at global stages, Pakistan Prime Minister Sharif has once again made a claim. He was speaking at the Future Investment Summit, and Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif admits that his country has made honest mistakes and that they are learning from them. This is an admission of guilt. How are we to read it? Is this an admission of terror? Listen to what the Pak PM said. All right, my colleague Shrinjoy is live with us. Shrinjoy, how are we to read this statement by Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif? This is an open admission. He was speaking at the Future Investment Summit, where he very openly admits and says that his country has made honest mistakes. What are these honest mistakes you think he's alluding to? Is this an admission of guilt on terror?
He's half right. He has made mistakes. Pakistan has made mistakes. But Pakistan has not learned from anything. First of all, Pakistan has lacked democracy for most of this period. Secondly, your question about terror. Both these issues are so crucial. And thirdly, the fact that 3-4 provinces, people of those provinces are treated as badly as they are, which is why there are really internal problems in the country. Let's take each one after the other. Terrorism. Terrorism is something which has become part of their foreign policy, and if it is a mistake, they haven't learned from it because terrorism continues. Now, terrorism began vis-a-vis India in 1989, and that problem still persists. That's 36 years of terrorism, of failed efforts in Jammu and Kashmir, and yet there is no sign that Pakistan has learned from that mistake. They have suffered hugely because of it. They are a pariah nation, and yet they haven't learned a lesson. As far as democracy is concerned, the result is actually worse, because from the 50s, Pakistan ceased to be a democratic country. So it has been under military rule for long periods. It has done terrifying things to its own countrymen. First in Bangladesh, what is Bangladesh and was then East Pakistan, wholesale murders, an extermination policy really. Now similar efforts are going on in Balochistan, in Northwest Frontier Province, and so on. So as a result, you have terror, you have a lack of democracy, and you have internal problems coming out of neglect of certain parts, of large parts of the country, whether it's Balochistan, whether it's Northwest Frontier Province, whether it's even POK. POK is not part of Pakistan. It's occupied illegally by Pakistan. And yet, see how unhappy people in POK are.
Exactly, and in fact, Ranjoy, we also confronted the Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, where he once again admits that he made honest mistakes. When asked whether the admission was on terror, he basically chose to walk away and refused to answer. Watch how Shehbaz Sharif evade Times Now Hina Gambhir.
Which mistakes you learned from them? Could you tell us, आपने अभी बात की कुछ mistakes जिनसे आपने सीखा?
हर एक से होती हैं, हर एक से।
किस तरह की mistakes की आपने बात करी? Sir, one second. किस तरह की mistakes की बात करी?
Honest mistakes. Honest mistakes.
कुछ mistakes you learned from them. Could you tell us, आपने अभी बात की कुछ mistakes जिनसे आपने सीखा?
हर एक से होती हैं, हर एक से।
किस तरह की mistakes की आपने बात करी? Sir, one second. किस तरह की mistakes की बात करी?
Honest mistakes. Honest mistakes.
All right, and we also have retired Major General A.K. Sivas. He's a defense expert who's joining us on the phone line. Morning, sir. Thank you for joining us on Times Now, sir. How do you view the statement, sir, by Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, basically saying that his country has made honest mistakes? What honest mistakes you think he's referring to? Perhaps he's alluding to an admission of guilt when it comes to the issue of terror?
Possibly, no doubt about it. The way he has accepted that they have made number of mistakes in past, and once asked by the journalist, does it mean that it also includes their terrorism? And the fact is, has Pakistan changed? That is a mute question. If they have made a mistake on terrorism, they still are sponsoring cross-border terrorism in India. Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaise Mohammed, terrorist camps are still there in POK, and about 5,000 cadre of Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaise Mohammed sitting on a launchpad to be now pushed inside India. So the point is that time and again Pakistan keep on saying that they have made mistakes or they were victim of certain international pressure, that they have in fact raised certain terrorist organization in Afghanistan-Pakistan border. But it has really not changed anything on ground. Pakistan still is a hub center of terrorism. In fact, when Hillary Clinton came in 2013, she has warned Pakistan that if you have snakes in your courtyard and you think it will only bite your neighbor, one day they will bite you. So TTP is creation of Pakistan itself. So as on today, one is now saying that Financial Action Task Force has again raised finger on Pakistan, that it should not happen that you have been taken out from the grey list in 2022, that you still start doing money laundering and terrorist funding. So the question is, Pakistan accepting this guilt, it is directly pointing finger toward terrorism. But has Pakistan changed? That is the mute question. I think Pakistan is still a hub center of terrorism, and they are sending not only terrorists inside India, also in Iran. So Jaisal al-Adal, the one which is Sunni militant, and now they are also sending Islamic State Khorasan in Afghanistan. So all one can say, whatever Shehbaz Sharif may speak, but on ground nothing has changed. They have made mistakes in past, and they are still continuing making this mistake in present also.
Well, actually, that's the worst part. It's not just about the open admission, considering that they've made mistakes in the past, but they continue making it in present and are so brazen about it. That's the big worry. Thank you, sir, for joining us on this big story. Viewers, while there is growing anger against Pakistan for their inaction on homegrown terror, while Times Now's Hina Gambhir questioned him in Riyadh, he had no answers to give, once again reflecting how Pakistan has no intent to clamp down on terror.
At the FII conference in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was part of a panel discussion whose topic was, is humanity heading in the right direction? Where he spoke about how Pakistan, since its inception, has made some mistakes. He called them honest mistakes, and he also said that the country has learned from those mistakes. And he also mentioned that, it is important to learn from those mistakes, and that's exactly what the country is doing right now. And also he spoke about the kind of reform measures that the country is implementing. Soon after that, Times Now, the only Indian news channel covering this conference from Riyadh, confronted Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and tried to understand what were the honest mistakes that he was referring to from the stage. I asked him those questions, sir. What were those honest mistakes that you were referring to, the mistakes that were made, and the lessons that have been learned? And then he repeated that those were honest mistakes. Then I asked him again, was it terrorism that he was referring to? He responded by saying those were honest mistakes. Now, clearly, it is very, very important to understand that the Pahalgam terror attack that happened, it was an attack on humanity. Terrorism is actually a threat to the entire humanity. So when you have the Pakistani Prime Minister having a discussion on humanity, this is the bare minimum that we, were expecting him to at least be honest about the honest mistakes that he was talking about. But clearly there were no answers there. Not just that, me and my video journalist Himanshu were even pushed away by his men there. And he was, in fact, remember, talking about humanity on the stage. But off the stage, when we asked basic questions, important questions, what we got in return were just two-word answers. He repeated honest mistakes, and then me and my camera person were pushed away.